I've been facing a campaign of Zionist harassment by well-funded organizations with ties to the Israeli government and military on the basis of my Palestinian identity and organizing. Beginning in fall 2019 semester, my very first semester as a law student, it has lasted ever since. In fall 21 alone, no less than 10 news articles were published slandering me personally. There was even another campaign launched to try to stop me from speaking today. But I will spare you the details, because this moment is not about those who attack, slander, and intimidate people fighting for justice. This moment is about our triumph in the face of them. And this is why I came to CUNY Law to begin with. Its reputation as the #1 public interest law school in the country allowed me to study the tools so drastically needed by my community alongside others fighting for justice and theirs. I wanted to be around these amazing students that I got to learn from and grow with the last 3 years. Those fighting for Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Palestinian liberation, and for the freedom of all people living under colonial domination, imperialism, and white supremacist structures both around the world and here in the US. Those confronting some of these issues right here at the law school, whether it's the fellowship demographics, anti-Blackness, or anti-Palestinian hate. These organizing efforts are what gives the law school its reputation, and I hope these efforts will be supported and nurtured in CUNY Law's future. By organizing for CUNY to acknowledge and work to repair systemic issues that we're complicit in, we've been able to pass a BDS resolution through student government, which CUNY faculty just officially endorsed yesterday. And CUNY Law is the first university in the country to publish a statement standing with the freedom of speech of those fighting for Palestinian liberation. This is historic, given that Palestinian freedom of speech hasn't really been supported at CUNY as a whole as much as it has been at CUNY Law. A few days ago, renowned Palestinian journalist Shireen Abu Akleh was shot in the head and killed wearing a press vest while covering Israeli raids in Jenin, Palestine. This is one of many instances of death and destruction Palestinians have faced the last 74 years. Meanwhile, the double standards are on full display when the Chancellor of CUNY only releases selective statements on freedom and is silent on Palestine. Beyond silence, during Ramadan, while many of us were still fasting and studying for finals right before Eid, which, by the way, CUNY Central still does not give Muslims time off for, the Chancellor decided to go on a normalizing trip to Israel with 10+ presidents and deans of different CUNY campuses. This was after CUNY Law student government passed a resolution demanding CUNY cease collaboration with Israel. This delegation, which did not include anybody from CUNY Law, did not care for our resolution and do not care when Palestinians at CUNY are attacked by Zionist organizations. In fact, upon her return, John Jay President Carol Mason canceled the upcoming Palestine Lives conference scheduled to take place on her campus. This is why this trip is an affront to everyone at CUNY fighting for liberation. It normalizes Israel's colonization and murder of the Palestinian people, and it shows that that part of CUNY's leadership is disconnected from and unaccountable to the CUNY community. But we will continue to hold this institution accountable. Just like we must hold the legal institutions that we're joining accountable. Like many of you, I came here to be in the position to defend our rights and freedoms to organize, because the law has not served us in those respects. Mechanisms of law have worked in favor of oppressors over the oppressed historically, whether it's mass incarceration of black communities in the U.S., the failure of international law to stop Israeli war crimes, or the right for a woman to choose. We came here to use our law degrees to support communities fighting for justice, not because we think the law is going to liberate them, but because we can use our law degrees to serve the grassroots movements around us and think creatively about litigation and defense work that is needed by people living under oppression. There's no shortage of work to be done, from supporting prisoners to providing immigration services to giving communities the tools to know their rights in the face of the racist and fascist ICE, police, and prison forces that terrorize black and brown communities every day. We are here to show that you can be a lawyer and an abolitionist without reducing it to reforms and hashtags. Because abolition as a framework allows us to envision a future in which colonized and oppressed people are in control of our destinies. It means an end to the fascist settler colonial regimes that build and run the prisons and all systems of oppression. Today, we graduate, and I hope that we will continue or join the fight to abolish these systems, and that we build the tools to take control of our destinies and achieve collective liberation within our lifetime.